So how have you been? It's been so long since I last saw you.
I know. I miss you so much. I've been really good. I've been seeing you post on Instagram and your social medias. You've been very active, which is
Thank
very
you.
impressive. I just graduated, which is really fun.
Wow.
I can't believe like that chapter of my life is ending,
Hmm.
but I'm super excited for the new chapter of my life to begin.
I remember when I graduated, it was during COVID, so they were still holding the grad ceremonies in like October, and I had
Oh,
already like left the province by then, so I couldn't attend. But I hear next year that they're gonna begin holding my grad ceremonies during like the end of the summer, and now I'm
well,
super bitter because I didn't get to attend my grad. Maybe I
yeah,
shouldn't be.
people missed out on grad, and I feel really bad, especially about prom. Like every little girl dreams of going to prom.
Exactly. And I saw that you wore like the same dress that you wore for internationals. It was
Yeah,
so pretty.
figured I'd make the use out of the dress.
I mean, why not? Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So what have you been up to? Like, I know that we did Miss Teenage Canada together, but you've been up to a lot ever since then. How's that going?
It's going really good. I'm very excited to be expanding my business now. I was in Ecuador in October competing in Miss Teen Earth. I'm sure you saw that. It was a super, super fun experience. I feel like I've grown so much from that just short amount of time. And I'm super excited to explain my platform to all these different people in the world and just really educate other people on what it means to be living sustainably in modern society. And it was just a life changing experience. Not only was it super fun, but it was a lot of knowledge just squished into 1 week.
Can you tell me more about your platform and has it changed ever since your first pageant until now?
I feel like it hasn't changed. It's just developed with time. So I've been keeping up with the Canadian wildfires. I've been really focusing on that because that's something that is affecting my community personally. We're surrounded by smoke, and the air index is the highest warning
Mm-hmm.
that they put out on the news. And it was really scary for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't normal because our wildfire seasons aren't supposed to start that early. So I've been focusing on that a lot. And I've also been focusing on alternative ways to live sustainably. Along with that, I've been growing my business. There's new color of paper that is available, which is super exciting. I like color a lot. And the paper is thicker, it's better quality, and there's more variety of flowers that can grow. So that's super duper excited, and I'm really excited to be launching that soon.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious, like, I
Yeah.
remember the wildfires in the previous years that they were not nearly this bad. Do you have any idea why they're beginning so early this year?
A lot of it contributes to global warming, unfortunately. When you get really, really dry spells and then followed by severe, severe storms, that is contributing to all the dryness in the air,
Mm-hmm.
and lightning makes it very much worse. As much as we like to see rain, it's usually followed by lightning, and that makes more fires. There was actually 143 active fires at one point, which is
Oh my.
insane. And places like New York and even as far as Spain are experiencing smoke in the air, and it's really not healthy to be breathing that in.
Mm-hmm.
So the warmer the planet gets, the worse it's going to get, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. And I believe camping is also a big issue when it comes to these wildfires because that's not as regulated as it really should be.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we, for our, oh,
Oh, your video. It's back.
for our Canada Day celebration, we still had fireworks going.
Mm-hmm.
It was ordered by firefighters, but I just couldn't believe it was like the worst week of smoke that we've had, and we still were allowed fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
The fire ban, but I believe it was lifted a few times. So it's just like really scary to see how many people are trying to push the problem away, how many people don't want to face reality. And some people are coming to, which is really, really nice. And we are making a difference. It's just about how far we're willing to go to make an actual change.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell me more about Seed Read bookmarks? I saw your Instagram page and that's something you've been doing.
Yes, so seed read bookmarks is my pride and joy. It's a seed infused paper that actually comes from a plant that is rejuvenative. I think that's a word.
Yes.
And it is an endless cycle. So once you cut that plant, you're able to make the seeds, and the plant will regrow. So you're able to make just a lot of flowers and a lot of greenery out of that one plant. Um, so it is harvested and then it is put into that paper. And then once you're done reading with it, once you're done, you can use it for anything really. You can use it for schoolwork,
Mm-hmm.
you can use it for reading. I make bookmarks out of it, obviously. But it's not limited to just the bookmarks. So once you're done with the paper, you can actually put it in dirt and just plant it like a normal seed, and you can be surprised at which plants grow.
What gave you this idea? Because it's really creative. I don't think I've ever heard of a bookmark that can be planted.
Well, compost really inspired me, and my mother really, really likes calla lilies. So if you look on the bookmark, it actually has like a little calla lilies
That's so
design.
sweet.
And I just thought of like, what if there's like a paper that is an endless like greenery cycle, so that we're not using, consuming, and there's major consequences from it. With this, there's not as much consequences. It's a lot more sustainable, and it's fun. It's really fun.
I know that Miss Teen Earth is huge on the global warming issue and tackling that. So, what was your experience, obviously, with your platform being so focused on the environment? What was your experience competing in Miss Teen Earth?
My experience was it was really interesting getting to know all the other platforms, all the other different points of view in different parts of the world. You know, all different parts of the world have different issues and different ways to combat climate change because we have different political systems.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really interesting to see, especially how South Africa deals with climate change and how Mexico deals with climate change, and what other people in the world are coming together and doing to combat the climate crisis. It was really inspirational, and it gave me a motivational boost.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I can find myself saying to myself, like, what am I doing? Like, is this really making a difference? But when I see all of these powerful women coming together, and men, of course, the miss, all of them coming together and having really innovative ideas when we're all so young. It was super inspirational, and it was just a super great experience, and it was really refreshing to see.
Mm-hmm. And actually, your seed read bookmarks reminded me of something that we used to do a lot in India, specifically in the south of India.
Yeah.
People there use banana leaves actually as food plates, and that gives like really delicious flavor to the food. And then when you're done, it's you can just compost it and you can use it again.
Yeah, alternative packaging. I saw that. It was
Mm-hmm.
super cool. I wish we did that here. And then there was Tokyo, I think it was, somewhere in Japan, where they continue the highway along with the forest. So they build a
Oh
bridge over
wow.
the forest so wildlife can cross. I thought that was super cool, especially here in Ontario. We have a lot of problems with wildlife crossing, especially turtles when it's breeding season.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them unfortunately get crushed by the automobiles and bicycles and all sorts of things. So it was really nice to see that there's bridges of continuing forests so that wildlife can live in peace, because
Mm-hmm.
their home as much as it is ours.
Mm-hmm, true. And I think when it comes to environmental solutions, it's really up to different cultures and different countries because you can't do the banana leaf thing or the same Tokyo bridge thing in Canada, right? Because we don't have
Yeah,
the same resources. And
yeah,
that's why I really love your Seed Read bookmarks because it's so amazing to find different ways to be creative with what you have in your country and in your area to try
yeah.
to make a difference.
Yeah, just really using your resources is a big thing. That's why we need innovative ideas, fresh young minds that have different experiences than the next generation or the older generations before them. It's just a whole different experience. And as climate change is getting worse, it's more of an urgent call for
Mm-hmm.
help. So a lot of more people are waking up to the realities, and that's why we're getting so much more innovative ideas to combat the climate crisis, and it's really inspirational, and it gives me a bit of hope. Because I feel like the climate crisis was ignored a bit in the past, and we thought it would just go away. Unfortunately, that's not how that works. Um, so the next generation, or our generation, is really going to be the ones that sets our foot down and makes our mark on
Mm-hmm.
ideas and what we're going to do and action more than ideas.
Exactly. And what would you say to somebody who's a climate change denier completely, who believes that humans have nothing to do with it and climate change is a hoax?
So there's actually a lot of people that I've encountered like that. But if they're in my area specifically, I just point out, like the last 3 summers have been the hottest ever recorded since
Mm-hmm.
like ages ago. And if you look at scientific data, like there's real NASA scientists like Peter Kalmus that are studying these things and that are trying to call for help and are chaining themselves to banks, um, and trying to get people's attention because they know things that we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they've seen the proof, they've seen the data, they've seen the science, and they're just as scared as anybody else. But they actually know that is happening. So just looking at people that do this for a living, that have devoted their life to this, it makes you realize that this isn't just about yourself. It's
Mm-hmm.
people are really scared. People are devoting their lives to this. People are getting arrested for civil disobedience acts, and it's a real thing. You experience it in your real life. The wildfires, breathing in that much smoke is really unhealthy, and people are really affected by this. And a lot of my friends were telling me like they were having breathing problems, headaches, nausea. It's real. It's real, and we're experiencing it, and it's getting worse, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. My biggest concern for the longest time was electric vehicles because many people try to say that they are the solution, but what was worrying me was the lithium ion batteries would, first of all, require more mining. And
Mm-hmm.
there's something called cobalt in the lithium ion batteries, which
Yeah.
requires extensive mining. And unfortunately, the mining that they do in Africa, I believe in Uganda and other surrounding countries, actually uses child labor. But something that I found out very recently from my brother actually that gave me some hope about this issue was that they're replacing lithium ion batteries with sodium ion batteries, which don't really need that extensive mining and which don't really use the same level of child labor because they don't have cobalt in the batteries at all, which gives me real hope that EVs could one day become the future, really. But I don't think we're quite at that stage. And I believe that we need a lot more young people like you who are influencing that change and who are bringing about awareness. Otherwise, we really won't get anywhere.
Yeah, see, I didn't even know about that. I knew about the lithium batteries, but I didn't know that they were coming up with innovative solutions to that. And
Mm-hmm.
that goes back to what I was talking about. People are becoming more aware and are trying to come up with innovative solutions, and that gives me a lot of hope as well. I'm really glad to hear that actually. And that's so cool that you've been following up with that, because I try to talk to other people about this, and most of them are like, "What?" Really nice that somebody else is following up, and somebody else cares about the environment, and cares what is happening, not only the bad but the good, and what are we doing to combat this.
Mm-hmm.
It's really scary and negative, and um, almost like doomsday, like if you focus on all the negative, but you also have to focus on the
Mm-hmm.
positive and what people are doing and what actions are being taken, because that's really what's going to motivate you to make another change, to make um, more ideas, to share your ideas, to communicate with other people, because it all starts with communicating and working together and being a team. We're all
Mm-hmm.
human, and we only have one Earth, and it's important that we take care of it.
Exactly. And I think what's probably driving a lot of the climate change deniers, so to say, is that whenever you look at news about climate change, about global warming, it's always these terrible, scary things that it can be really, like, it can really disturb you to constantly be reading that news every single day. And I know people just sort of shut it out and don't want to think about it because of how terrifying it sort of is and because
Yeah,
of how little good news they seem to see every single day. But I
yeah.
think as we've had technological advances, we've been seeing more and more good news, which gives me so much hope for the future.
Yeah, that's it brings me back to my point of finding that balance, and so you don't lose hope, you don't get caught up in that negativity. I remember a couple months ago I was waking up every day and the first thing I would do is check Twitter to see all the news, to see what's happening. And unfortunately, it was putting me in a really bad place because I was scared all the time and I felt hopeless because it seemed like nobody was doing anything. But I
Mm-hmm.
started following accounts that, like Oxfam Canada, that is coming up with solutions, taking initiative and posting about it and sharing it, and it's getting a lot of support. And they actually sent me a free calendar in the mail because they saw that I was supporting them on Instagram, and it was really cool. So just focusing on the both is really important. You can't just focus on the good, you can't just focus on the bad. Finding that balance is what's gonna drive change and what's gonna make our generation be the one to change how we act and how we treat our world.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard a lot of people who keep not just saying that pageantry is just about beautiful women, but that we can't really make an impact or make a change. Now, as a very impactful woman in pageantry yourself, what would you say to people like that?
You are so sweet. You're hyping me up. um, I get that comment a lot. I unfortunately a lot of people that are following along with me aren't always supportive of me, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. But one thing I would just say is you can't let anybody that isn't in your position try to talk about what you're doing, because any action that you take, the smallest or the biggest, it's making a difference. And especially when you're trying so hard to, sorry, somebody was coming.
No worries, take your time.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Especially when you're trying so hard to be a new version of yourself, you can get caught up in that and you can get kind of exhausted from it. So it's important to stay true to yourself, take your time, and know that there's a plan for you. Everything's going to
Mm-hmm.
work out, and you don't have to rush what you're doing, and know that you're doing good, whatever it is, small or big. Know that
Mm-hmm.
you're doing.
And I believe that you're also encouraging a lot of girls into pageantry because I know personally that I've seen your account and I've seen what you're doing. And as many pageant posts as there are, like with you at Miss Teen Earth and with you just dressed so beautifully and like taking glam shots, there are equally as many photos that are actually enacting change. And I really think that's wonderful and how you're able to make people realize that there are two sides of it. It's not just the glamorous side. There's more of it behind the surface that people can't really see immediately.
Yeah, so ever since I was a little girl, I felt like my potential was just kind of shut out by what people thought of me.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I started realizing like it doesn't matter what people think of you, it
Exactly.
matters what you think of you and what people important to you and people that love you think of you. It really started to make a difference in how I view myself and what I want to do for the world. So I found pageantry, and at first I thought it was just the glamour as well, but I found it enticing and I started researching about it, and I found personality pageants, and Sophia messaged me, and it just completely turned my life upside down. Pageantry really feeds your soul. You're able
Mm-hmm.
to get involved with your community, get involved with charity work, get involved with initiatives that matter to you and
Mm-hmm.
that are going to make a change in your community, in the world, everywhere. So that's something that internationals especially has opened the doors for me to is to use my voice on a way larger scale, on an international scale. And I think that's so cool
Mm-hmm.
that I reach people in Ecuador, and I'm able to reach people in Latin America and Europe and Germany, and all of these beautiful places that I never would have even dreamed of. So I really think my dreams as a little girl are really coming true because I'm so blessed to be inspiring other people. And I say that in the most humble way possible. I'm so blessed to be where I am, and I'm so blessed to be a part of personality pageants, because I gain family like you. And it's
You're
it's
so
really
sweet.
it's really a sisterhood like no other, and I've been seeing other teenagers in my community. I've been getting a lot of messages from other girls in my community saying how I've made a difference in their life. And it just warms my heart to see because I never thought I'd be able to do that. And pageantry has really opened the door for that. And
Mhm.
I'm grateful for that.
I know that on such a big international scale, it can also be difficult to keep yourself grounded in who you are and what you believe. How have you combated maybe not the not nicest comments on Instagram, or how have you combated seeing all of these amazing women and making yourself also remember that you deserve to be there and that you are making as much of a change as anybody else?
I try to keep off of social media as far as comparing myself to
Mm-hmm.
others, all of that goes. I really go on social media to make myself laugh. To look at puppy videos, to see fun videos. It really makes a difference because then you're not using social media for the toxic kind of things. I know it's really, um, sorry. I know it's really tempting to look at other people and compare yourself to, and it can be really toxic. So just using social media for the right reasons and using it to promote yourself, using it to promote what you do, using it for what it's meant for, especially not misusing social media and not engaging in any hurtful conversations or conversations that will not do you good. I like to think of myself as a person that is really grounded, I guess, in what people think of me because I tell myself if their opinion won't matter in 5 years, I shouldn't let 5 minutes of my life go to waste talking with them
Mm-hmm.
about it. Um, so just proving people wrong in your own way. You don't have to go out of your way to make them feel bad. You don't have to go out of your way to put shame on them. You should really just ignore it and live your life
Mm-hmm.
and happiness is the best revenge you could get. Really go of those petty dramas and the high school drama and we're all teenage girls so we do get into drama but letting go of that toxicity and allowing yourself to heal from that is super important if you want to grow and if you want to be in pageant.
Could you recommend some maybe practical ways that you could stay grounded for anybody who's watching this?
Yeah, so my number one thing is my faith, and I know that's not what a lot of people use, but that's what I do. I like to go to church, I like to pray, I like to stay grounded in my faith, and I also like to go back to my roots. I visited my elementary school a couple days ago, and I that was a really humbling experience, seeing all of my teachers and getting to talk to them, and seeing all the new generation of kids growing up where I used to be, and it was so nice to see everyone again and to have those conversations of what's next for them and me as well. Another thing I like to do is I am huge on self care.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a face mask once a week, a hot shower, things like that. This little things. If you buy yourself a candle, that's a good day. Just the little things that keep yourself in tune with who you are and taking care of yourself is super important.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I know that just the little things can really make such a big difference in your day, especially when you're having a really terrible day and then you just go and I don't know, for me it's maybe to sit down and play or sit down and play some video games and then that just really brightens my mood and gives me a
My
different perspective.
Minecraft is huge for me. I um at bedtime sometimes I like to write down three things that I'm grateful for,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'm really feeling grateful that day I like to write down a whole list, and I try to keep it different every time I do it so I can remind myself all of the different things and all of the different people that I'm grateful for in my
Mm-hmm.
life that have gotten me this far, and that really helps me to stay grounded, stay humble, and true to myself, really.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. And how would you say pageantry has affected your life in through your journey from your very first pageant until now?
My very first pageant, we actually competed together.
Yes.
So my first big pageant was Miss Teenage Canada, and we were there together. It was super fun. Oh,
Oh, you're gone.
we're gonna
You're back.
have that out. It was super fun. We were more, I think both of us were more about having fun and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of dipping in the water a little bit. Um, I started introducing myself to like charity work and community involvement, but I wasn't as in touch with it as I am now. It was just kind of seeing what it's all about. And I encourage a lot of people to do that, just to go into pageants for fun sometimes, because it's super healing to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you gain a lot of confidence from it. But fast forward to now, I am much more serious about it. It's something that I take very seriously. I do really like to have fun. I like to meet up with all my sisters. I like to go on adventures and stuff like that. But being a role model for people is a thing that is super important
Mm-hmm.
and should be carefully um, sorry, losing my words, like hearing people over there. Um, sorry, I was saying, what
I'm
was I
sorry.
saying? Okay, I'll start from this.
To be a role
um,
model. That's how you
yes,
want.
thank you.
It's okay. Take your time.
To be a role model is something that should be taken seriously. Again, sorry. I keep hearing them over there. Okay, let me. Okay.
Deep breaths.
Okay. Um, to be a role model is something that should be handled carefully and with care, because you're in the public eye, and doing that has really allowed me to grow in pageantry. And I think that's the difference from then until now. I wasn't planning on being a role model. I wasn't planning on making a mark on my world. I wasn't sure where I fit in. But now I know exactly where I fit in. I know exactly what I want to do, what I'm going to do, what my plans are for the future. It's just a lot more in depth. And I'm more considerate of what I want to accomplish rather than just having fun.
Mm-hmm. And I can totally understand what you were talking about with having fun, because when we were at our first pageant together, as much as I wanted to win, it was more like, let's just enjoy the process, you know? And when I had just gotten there, I wasn't really big on my platform. I hadn't really done too much for it. And I didn't realize how important it was in pageantry. It's sort of like everybody sees that one night you're on the stage, but really it's like your platform is here and then everything else is outside, because that's the central core that's keeping everything together. And I sort of didn't have that. But when I realized how important it was, I sort of yearned to make more of an impact. And I don't think that anything else in my life has sort of had that same impact on me, where I've wanted so badly to do something more. Because when it comes to pageantry, even when you make an impact, you're also gaining this platform where you can speak to a bunch more people and raise even more awareness. It's not like you're on your own little island, which I think is amazing, because being able to launch girls up to this level where they can speak their minds and where they can make tangible change is something really powerful.
It is super powerful, and it's crazy to see how much we both have changed in that short amount of time. And pageantry has opened a whole new world of opportunities for us since we decided to take it seriously. You know, some
Mm-hmm.
girls do it for fun. That's totally okay. That's what we were in it for at first. But when you find that it's your calling, and when you find that you don't want to do anything else, you want to make a change in the world and you want to have an impact. Like when 30 years from now, you want people to remember the stuff that you were doing, and the things that you were involved in and the people that you helped. It's it's something that is truly just remarkable to see all of these people just growing into who they're meant to be through
Mm-hmm.
pageantry. Pageantry is something that helps as a stepping stool for who you are as a person and what you want to do with your life and what you
Mm-hmm.
want to do for the world.
Honestly, looking back to our very first pageant and then looking at you now is kind of amazing because when I saw
I
you at Miss Teen North and you placed first runner up, I was like, oh my goodness, way to go. That's my pageant sister right there.
oh, you're
I
so
felt so
sweet.
proud of you and like so happy for you. It was kind of difficult to describe actually because when people look at pageants, they're like, oh my goodness, you guys must be so jealous of each other. It's like,
No, it's
absolutely not.
no. I was talking about that the other day. It's completely the opposite. Like we go feral for each other. We are absolutely nuts for each other. We love each other so much and we love seeing each other succeed and we celebrate each other's wins as if it were our own. And that's something super special about pageantry that I love. And that's a family to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's my second family. So yeah, in our first pageant, we were super like we were just goofing around, but now you're doing this podcast, and I've been watching like every episode.
Oh, you have? That's so sweet.
I have my research. No, I'm just kidding. Um, and talk about things that are so important, and you ask just the right questions, and I feel like you have a future in interviews, and like it's incredible to see how you've grown and how great you are at speaking. You should really pursue something in interviews because I've been watching you and just the right questions every time. The
Oh,
stuff I want, you're already on it.
that pageantly actually made me realize that I wanted to be like a psychologist or a psychiatrist, like the talk therapy kind of thing. Because I was just
Yeah,
like, well, hey, why not? I'm already doing something in sort of that field, and that would be really fun to pursue.
yeah, I feel like you would be super talented at that. I
Oh,
feel like
thank you.
this is so easy.
And speaking of which, what about you? What do you plan to do now going forward in pageantry and otherwise?
So in pageantry, I'm planning on attending internationals in Mexico for the Teenager Universal pageant.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully, that's still happening. I'm not sure if it's happening in Mexico because of the whole situation in Mexico, but hopefully that's still happening in Mazatlan. Outside of pageantry, I just graduated. I'm hopefully going to be working at an animal hospital soon.
Mm-hmm.
My application in. And then after a year of doing that, trying it out, seeing if I like it, I'm going to be going to vet school. I
Oh,
got a
wow.
bursary from my school.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's something that I was afraid to like dip my feet in because I was super afraid of how stressed out vets can be and like how much work it is. But I have a passion for animals and I feel like that'll outweigh everything.
Mm-hmm. I feel like if you enjoy it, even if it's stressful, it doesn't really matter because if it's something you truly love, then the stress is sort of something that you can get over more easily.
Exactly. And it's not as stressful when
Mm-hmm.
you're at peace with what you're doing and you're not just working a 9 to 5. Um, I mean, no disrespect to people that do that. It's such a hard-earned living, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like veterinarian is just where I'm meant to be.
I feel like whatever gives you meaning, that's the thing that you should pursue, right?
I,
And if being a vet gives you meaning, then I can totally see you being an amazing vet because I know that you have a husky. Is that
yes,
isn't
yes,
that?
I have. Yes.
So I'm sure that you must really enjoy being around animals. I'm sure you'll do a great job.
Yes. My husky's name is Piper. I love her. And she's really what kind of like inspired me to be a vet because I wanted to be a vet my whole life, but every time Piper kind of gets like sick or something, I start freaking out and I wish I could just help her in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I could be the one that just takes it my own responsibility in my hands and helps her. So that's something that also really pushed me to do it. My family also was really like, you need to be a vet. Like it's happening. So I've kind of just accepted it now.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm so glad that you have the full support of your family in this.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm glad.
congratulations. You've
Thank
made
you.
such an impact that I'm honestly so shocked and happy for you. It's like
Thank you.
amazing. And I cannot wait
You.
to see what you go on to do, honestly. I'm super excited to keep following you.
You. I'm planning on getting seed read up and going in a couple weeks here. My printer
Wow.
was broken the longest
Oh,
time. So we just got that fixed. And then we've been trying to print out several copies and they haven't been printing right. So trying to get that fixed before we introduce the new colors. And I also have new stickers if you
Oh,
buy a
wow.
sticker. So
That's amazing. So, good luck with that. I wish
thank you.
you so much happiness and so much success. I'm sure that'll work out for you.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.